Hey, what's up with it, guys? Hey, welcome back to another video here. This is gonna be just a video kind of going through my stables, some of the rare pets that I have, pets I use for different situations, kind of just going through pets as it currently is in BFA, as there have been some changes since Legion. Let's turn the music down just a smidge there. But shout out to Kenneth Knight for suggesting this video. I think it's a really good idea, and figure I'll just go through it. So I had to kind of adjust my camera here in OBS, so don't mind the fact that my mini map is cut off over here, but it wasn't letting me show this window the way I had all my stuff oriented. So let's get right into it. This setup I have right now, you can see here on the left hand side, are the pets that I keep in my like call pet section, whatever you call your active pets, I guess. And these are the ones I have for different reasons, and I'll kind of explain that. There's nothing too exciting about the hyena here. Hyena, raptor, or rodent all have the same effects in PvP, which is really all this pet is. This is my PvP pet. I use it 100% of the time, unless in niche situations where I'm running with the arms warrior that already has the mortal strike debuff. However, all hyenas, raptors, and rodents like porcupines or whatever will have that same. They're a cunning pet, so you get the blessing of freedom, or what's it called, master's call, and you get the mortal strike debuff. So for that reason, I always have one of these pets in my active pets at all times. Secondly, we got Perps here. We gotta summon Perps just because he looks so clean. Homeboy right there. Oh yeah. So this is actually a relatively difficult pet to tame. It requires you to have, there's like the book that you have to get, and honestly now I can't even remember exactly how to do it. I can't remember if it's a quest chain or drop or whatever, but you can look up any kind of details on this stuff on Petopia. Petopia.com has all kinds of information on all this stuff regarding some of these rare pets, but the main reason why this pet is so good to have in your kit as far as just like your active pets is that you have Updraft, which gives you slow fall. So you just click it, you don't even have to click it on yourself. It gives both you and your pet slow fall. So like for leveling, for example, I had this pet up a ton and actually had it keybound, so I could disengage and then slow fall, and you can like disengage and like basically just fall for a really far distance. Also, if you're free falling, you can end up calling the pet and casting the slow fall like at the same time or really quickly to be able to save you from dying if you don't have disengage or whatever. So there's a lot of kind of cool tricks when you're out in open world to implement this Updraft. And so therefore I had a hippogriff that I had, and this one specifically you have to tame it. Flies in Legion. Wrong keybind. It flies somewhere over here. Shoot, now I'm not even gonna be able to remember where it is. I think, oh, it's right here. That's where it is. This one, whatever you call this, Lothian Highlands up here. But it hovers around and flies in a circle path above there, and it's actually invisible. So you have to have a Legion flying, or have someone like, I don't even have Legion flying on any of my characters still. I haven't unlocked it. So I actually had to have someone fly around, aggro it, and then fly down to me, and then I had to tame it. So anyway, so there's kind of a little more like of a story behind this one. But any of the hippogriffs are actually really good to keep in your active pets in case you do need to have some scenario where you can like disengage, slow fall, or whatever. Can be really helpful. This is what is this one's name? I can't even think of it. But this is a rare spawn that's in wherever the garrison is, whatever that is. What is that, Draenor, whatever that is. But it's a chimera. The reason that I keep this honestly is just for when I run AQ, so that I can kill the little blob boss, Vesuvius. I think it's Vesuvius, something like that. But it requires to be hit by frost damage, and the exotic ability from chimeras, that's the frost breath, does frost damage, so you can actually solo that as a BM hunter. And so that's the only reason that I keep this in here. I do switch this one out if I'm swapping for some other reason. This is my first pet to pull out of my active pets if I need to bring some other form of utility or anything like that. Now I keep a spirit beast at all times in my active pets as well. This is the one from the Hunter Quest from Legion. I believe it was Legion. It's like the whole chain. It's a really, really cool, super unique model. You can't get this model through any other means except for doing like the Hunter Quest. And at the time, it was actually a relatively difficult quest. So it was actually a really fun BM quest chain to be able to complete at the time. I don't know now going back how easy it would be or how quick you can get it, but I just know that it was a really fun quest at the time, and it's a really cool, awesome character model, pretty unique. So a lot of times I do this. You'll see, I'll show you guys some other ones I have. Have a lot of cool of the Spirit Beast tames, I guess you would call it, but this one is the one that I probably keep most of the time in my active pets. Now Thunder Stomp, this is also actually a one-of-a-kind skin for the Thunder Lizards, the Scale Hides. So this actually got changed in BFA. This was a different model. This is still a unique model where there's only one that you can tame, which actually roams around the Barrens. This was actually really difficult to find. It took a while. I don't know if I just had poor luck, but it took a long time to spawn. But the model still was unique back in the day, but it was a different model. But it was still unique. So I'm glad that they kept it where it's unique to itself. But you can see it's a pretty cool model. The other thing is it's huge. Let's go ahead. I'll summon it so you guys can see it. It's a big pet. Can we even like, it takes up like my whole screen. But you can see it's a pretty, I like the character model. You can see like I'm a Tauren, right? So like my character model is already pretty big. So you can see how big this thing is. So there are times that it's definitely fun just because it's a kind of a cool looking pet. Main reason being that I keep it in my active pets is because it does have bloodlust. So it's a ferocity pet, so it does have bloodlust, which is the main reason I try to always keep one bloodlust pet in my active pets, because there's a lot of times where I get into dungeons or different scenarios and we don't have a bloodlust. So you want to provide that utility as a hunter. A couple of these are not going to be too exciting. This is a unique hermit crab model from the new BFA models that's tameable over in the Tier Guard Sound. I can't remember exactly where it is, but you know, over in the Alliance territory. There's some Silithids. Now, it is worth mentioning on these Silithids, these two models are not super unique. These are pretty easy to get. I do have another one I'll show shortly that is unique, but these are actually really awesome BM pets for a couple reasons. One, they have a slow. Here, let's find the other one and I'll summon it. They have a slow that has a oh, actually, you know what, they don't, theirs does not have a range, but they have a slow, and their passive, their exotic ability is a passive move speed increase. So what ends up happening is that equates to a lot of uptime on targets in general. So this character model, I actually farmed specifically this tier 2.5 set to match this pet to be able to run this setup. I'm still missing my gloves. But this specific one is a unique character model. This is tamed from a quest line. It's like the Trial of Blood type quest line in Zul'Farrak. Or sorry, Tanaris, not Zul'Farrak, in Tanaris. And so you can only get it through that quest chain. So if you've already completed the quest chain on your hunter, you won't be able to do it yourself. You'll have to sit there, wait for someone else to spawn it, and then you tame it. But that's the only way you can get this type of a character model for the Silithids. So it is pretty cool. It's pretty creepy too when you're running around. It like just looks like a earwig. It's pretty creepy looking. Not to mention when you do cast, like, you know, Bestial Wrath and stuff like that, it's just this creepy crawly looking thing. You can see pretty interesting. But the main thing, like I said, is it has a slow, which does help with your kiting, things like that. And you do have the Silithid. Sorry, let's pull up this one. This one, Dune Strider, increases Silithid's move speed by 30%. So this really ends up helping, since as BM so much of your damage does come from your pets. That does actually help a good amount with your uptime as far as just your pet's uptime on targets. Due to BM getting nerfed, the pet damage getting nerfed, it's not as strong as it was at the beginning of expansion, but it's still very good. I actually really like using this pet or a Silithid in general for world PvP, because you can kill command and your pet will jump obviously at the target, right? It does that gap closer, and if your pet has a slow, it saves you a global in your opener to be able to apply the slow through your pet rather than you having to use a global to do so. So it's really good in world PvP situations when you're trying to catch a target. And like, for example, I was doing that a lot. I'd be able to like disengage and then glider kit and then like kill command my pet and then the rest of the raid would like catch up and kill the slowed target. So there are definitely situations where you can utilize this. Like I said, mainly in world PvP is where I've found the most use out of it. So let's go back here. So this is another spirit beast I have. This I believe is called, the name is Gon, G-O-N. This is a raptor that is an egg, has to spawn in Orgrimmar for you to summon it and then tame it. So this is more likely or easier to get when you're horde side because the actual tame is inside Orgrimmar itself. But this is a really cool pet. It's actually pretty decent size too, really vibrant. So this is another one that I run pretty consistently if I swap out my other spirit beast. Nothing exciting there, Devil Sword. So Fenalala is a ghost carrion bird. So I don't think they have it. I don't think it's the case now. But it used to be basically the Tenacity Mortal Strike pet, right? The carrion birds used to be that back in Legion. So I would run this a lot. However, that's not the case anymore. And you can't tell well in this, but this is actually a semi-transparent character model or animal model. Character model, like whatever you call it. So it is pretty cool. It is unique. It's tamed in Ghostlands, I believe, off the top of my head. Core Hound here, nothing too exciting. Bird of Prey, this one's actually pretty interesting too because it does kind of look like it would be a spirit beast. However, it is not. It is just a Bird of Prey. But this is Qual, which is tamed in the mountains just to the west of Barrens. Stone Talon Mountains is where this guy's tamed, but it's pretty cool. Main reason I really liked it is because it has that kind of like blue chrome type look, so it does look kind of like it's a spirit beast. So you can kind of throw people off a little bit if you're running that maybe as survival or as marksman. Nothing too crazy here. This is the stag from Legion. They're in Eye of Ashara. Sorry, over here. Or sorry, Azuna is what I meant. Over here, Eye of Ashara is in Azuna, right? Am I right? Yeah, Eye of Ashara in Azuna. But they spawn right over here, these like flaming little unicorns. Main reason I got this one is because it matches the transmog I use most of the time. They are a Tenacity... it's not called Tranquilize, but Tenacity Purge pet, basically. So running a stag in general is really good for PvE content currently in BFA, like Mythic Pluses, things like that. You want to have the Tenacity for the bonus health, and then the Purge is actually really helpful in a lot of the content because a lot of the different classes have different buffs and things like that that you can dispel. Yeah, so I run with one of these. The one that I usually run with is the... nothing too excited here. This is one of the raptors. This is tamed off of the troll starting area. This is the same one as the pet that I already have. I have two of them though, actually, because of the BM talent. This one where you have like two pets. So I tamed two of them so like I could have one in my thing. Basically have like two of the little like earwig looking things. So that's why I have the second one there. This is just another one of the Feathermanes or the Hippogriffs. This is one of the models that's tamed over in the Alliance side. The Alliance has two unique Hippogriff models that you can tame over on their side. So that's it. This is the... I can't think of the name of this one off the top of my head, but this is the in Nagrand where you do the thing where you kill all the different types of... beasts in Nagrand. You go through, kill all the like stags, and you kill all the cleft hoof and all this stuff. This is like the stag boss, so this is also a unique model. It's a really cool, clean looking model. I like running this a lot. One downside is it makes this like weird, obnoxious like neighing sound, so it gets really annoying in PvE content, and it's not loud enough where it's like super noticeable, but it sounds like your cell phone is vibrating. It sounds like it's like zzz, zzz. It has this weird sound. So it can be really obnoxious. So like this drove me crazy for a couple days because I couldn't figure out where the sound was coming from. And then I finally figured out it was this stupid pet. Tortoise. I don't know if this is what this one's called or not, but this one was tamed. I tamed this in Legion. It's right in Suramar is where it used to be tamed. I think there's a couple other models of it now. So I think it's actually easier to get now. But when I did get this originally there was only the one that you could get that was like a rare spawn in the Suramar area. Pretty cool little turtle pet. It's just a random parrot. I don't think that's too exciting. Yeah, Friender. I can't even remember the story of how you get this. I think it's like something in Nomergon. I remember this was right when mechanical pets came out. It was kind of interesting. I honestly like never run with mechanical pets though because their abilities just aren't that good compared to some of the other pets. But pretty cool little character model there. This is the same thing, similar to like this stag. This is what his name is, like Banathor or something like that. But same thing in Nagrand. This is the boss Cleft Hoof. This is also a unique character model or pet model. Pretty clean. I really like this. This is also a really big model. It's a very big pet. Now, this one's name, I think, and all these are off the top of my head, so I don't have any of this other stuff pulled up. I think this one is called Boglash, I want to say, and this one was actually really difficult to tame. You can look it up on Petopia, but you end up having to like find the tracks in, and I can't even remember where it is. I remember I think it's in like a fort, like I want to say is in like one of the Sholazar Basin or some like kind of foresty place, but you have to find the tracks, then you have to flare it, and then you have to trap it. But it's really hard to find the tracks because there's a bunch of different spots that can like wander around. So this one was definitely difficult to eventually track down, but this is actually a really good pet to have potentially in your active pets. Like if you're leveling, I would honestly substitute this in for like the Chimera, because this does have a water walking buff it can give you. Any of the water striders can do that. There's other water striders that are easier to get that you can use in lieu of this, but they give you water walking. So you can go BM, summon this pet, cast water walking, and then mount up and like run across the water. So it's really helpful for leveling, same way that Homeboy Perps here is with the slow fall. Lots of actual utility you get out of having this pet with you out in the world when you're questing. This one, I think this is also actually a unique model, but I can't remember where. I could be wrong on that though. Just another Cleft Hoof. This is Thok from Siege of Orgrimmar. I feel like a lot of hunters have this. This is a pretty kind of iconic BM pet, if you will, but just tamed from the last boss in Siege of Orgrimmar. Nothing too exciting here, just like this is a Fell cat. I think this is from Fellwood. This is one of like a few rare models that share the same kind of skin of the Scorpion. This one specifically I tamed in Blasted Lands. Scorpions used to be the same thing, like the Cunning Mortal Strike debuff pet. They're now not that. I want to say that they're Tenacity. I could be wrong on that because I don't play them anymore because they're not in that same niche. Unfortunately, we really are stuck between raptors, hyenas, or rodents when it comes to PvP. So a lot of these pets that I used to run with all the time, I don't anymore just because they're not optimal. This is just a black moose. Nothing too crazy. Now this one, this is a good one. I can't remember the name of this one, but this is actually from, this is in Eastern Plaguelands. Now this is a, let's go ahead and we'll pull this bad boy out. So this is a worm. So it has the AoE, but you'll see when I spawn it, you can't tell here. One, it's pretty good size, it's big, but it's also see-through. So you can see here how transparent it is. Let me see, like you can see the character behind it, right? Like it's all transparent. It's like a ghost worm. And then they have the cool ability where they burrow. I still totally don't really understand the value of this, because if you're playing BM and you have this pet, you do more damage just doing Beast Cleave than you do doing the burrow attack. So I'm kind of disappointed they haven't made some form of their exotic ability actually useful. But you can see how see-through it is. Really cool. If I pop Bestial Wrath, you can see this thing just gets huge, just giant. So the worms in general are cool pets. This one specifically is a rare spawn, very unique skin, and yeah, it's a fun pet. Oh, the other thing, this is actually really important. Even though that their exotic ability is basically useless in any situation, especially in PvP, the one big benefit that they have is they are one of 2 pets that have a 30-yard range on their slow. So this is actually a really big deal. There's certain situations, and there's a lot of little nuances like this people are not familiar with. And sorry that this is going to end up being a longer video, but I feel like might as well kind of go through all this stuff while I'm going through it, right? But you can see, I'll pull up through the spell book because you can't see the tooltips on my page. They're over on the right. But it's a 30-yard range. 50% move speed slow for 6 seconds, 10-second cooldown. So all the slows share the same movement speed debuff as well as duration as well as cooldown. However, the worms and the chimeras have a 30-yard range on their slow. So this is really helpful. Again, the same way that the Silithids have the move speed and the slow for the uptime. This being a 30-yard range allows any situations where your pet may be getting kited or things like that. If you're trying to chase down a mage, he frost novas, your pet can still go ahead and slow the target, even if he's not in melee range of the target. So there are definitely times where the range on the slow is very valuable. And again, these exotic abilities are important or worth noting. However, very rarely are they like this big impactful thing that will increase your damage or anything like that. Things like the fact that your slow now has range to it is honestly more important than virtually any of the exotic abilities, with the exception of like Spirit Men, right? Okay, so let's go on to here. Plague, this is a unique skin as well on a dog, which I believe the dogs do have the Mortal Strike debuff, but I want to say that they're Ferocity, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the same kind of thing. This is a ghost pet. I'll go ahead and summon it so you guys can see. But this is a ghost pet in the sense that it is like semi-translucent. So you can kind of see here. Let's see, can we get in a spot where you can see it easy? You can see it's kind of see-through. Unique character model as well. This one's tamed in, where is it? It's kind of like just north of Undercity. Again, you can look that up on Petopia if you're curious. This is just another hyena. None of the hyenas have any unique character models, which is it's kind of frustrating. Like the raptors and hyenas, none of them have any like super rare character models. Raptor has one that's like blue, but that's it. Carrion bird, this is the same thing as this used to be the go-to pet back in Legion. That's why I have that one. You know, we had to get the explosive sheep pet. So that's what that is. I never use it because the mechanical pets are not good, but I have it there. Now this guy, let's go ahead and spawn him. So this is a unique model as well. And it's in it's near your garrison, or is it no, it's in Tanan Jungle. Sorry, my bad. It's in Tanan Jungle. But you can see this is huge pet. Unique cleft hoof. With Bestial Wrath, you can see this thing is like gigantic. So anyways, so yeah, so that's another cool one. No, this is not too exciting. This is a wind serpent. It is I believe this is actually a unique skin as well. I could be wrong on that. But again, I don't run this because it's not optimal for any of that. Now, Bombax, Homeboy Bombax. This is also a unique model as well, but this is more of just a little slug. Doesn't look nearly as cool as the other one, in my opinion, but same kind of thing. It does have the range slow, just like the other ones do. So if you are doing that, this is also a cool, unique one to get. Little pudgy fat worm. Fenrir. Now this one is, I feel like I don't see nearly as much as I wish I did. This is such a cool character model. It's not difficult to get now, but it was at the time in Legion to be able to get this, because you had to solo the dungeon. One thing that's worth noting on this is you'll see anytime it moves, the scars will light up on Fenrir himself. So if you see, if I move, it'll come over to me, you can see the scars light up. So anytime you're moving, the scars are all lit up on him. So it's kind of cool. Kind of cool, honestly. It's one of the coolest models and like unique models that Blizzard's come out with in a long time. Pet is just a slow, but again, it's a ferocity pet. So for that reason, I don't use it for hardly anything. What do we do? Okay, yeah, we got the homeboy, the wolf there. This is a rare one, another chimera, nothing too exciting. This is, I think it's called like Eveline or something like that. It's in just north of Ogremar. Dustwing, this is actually another good pet, same kind of thing. It's a cunning pet though, but it does have purge, similar to the stags. So certain PvP situations, the moths are actually a decent PvP pets. This is a unique model as well. Dustwing, and so is Thicket. Thicket is another one that has a unique model for the moths. Terrapin, this one is tamed in, I think is in Mount Highjaw. Unique turtle model, pretty cool, pretty clean. Grizzly, this guy is this one is tamed in, shoot, and I'm not even gonna be able to think of it, but this one was actually kind of a hard tame. There's a bunch of people trying to actually get this, but it's a pretty cool spirit beast. You don't see these too much. Some of the other ones you'll see pretty often. This one is more difficult of the spirit beasts themselves to actually tame. But yeah, so this one I'll sub in and out occasionally. I don't like it as much as the other one. Now, Riplash. Riplash is a pretty awesome raptor model, and it's the only raptor that is unique in the sense that there's only one tame that gives you this skin. The unfortunately is it's a very bright blue, so depending on like if you're trying to make your pet match your transmog or anything like that, you kind of are stuck with something that's pretty vibrant and blue to be able to match that. But it is pretty clean looking just model in general. So pretty straightforward, but that is the only raptor that I'm aware of, at least, that is a unique model. Fangor is the same kind of thing as those other ones I showed that are like the undead translucent ones. This is a I think this one is, yeah, it's a translucent bat. You know, we had to get Harambe here, the gorilla. I think this is a unique model to like 2 or 3 different rare spawns throughout the game. We have Chromagus, just another Corehound. Obviously, this is a unique model as well. It's the boss from Blackwing Lair. We got Thicket, unique moth model again. Depending on what you're trying to do with your transmog. I actually had this other moth, Dustwing. I had when I had the tier 1 transmog. It actually goes pretty well with the tier 1 transmog for anyone interested in that. Another Feathermane. This is the other unique Feathermane that's tamed over in the current BFA area. This is one of the other bats that is a unique model, I think, or it's one of like a couple that are pretty difficult to get. Again, I never used the bats, but figured I'd get them, might as well. Now this is Cold Snout, and this is, I think, one of like 2 unique boars. There's one that you cannot get anymore that's like this flaming, corrupted, like half dead boar that you can't get, was like a bug, but like if you got it at the time, you can keep the pet. And Cold Snout is actually one of the other that is a unique character model as far as the boars go. Pretty cool looking boar, to be honest. But you know, it's again not the optimal traits. But you can see, yeah, it's pretty clean, pretty beefy, pretty stout little guy over there. But let's look. I think they have yeah, see, they have the like little shield wall bubble thing. So they're okay if you're out in open world, but when it comes to PvP, you're just gimping yourself by not having like the Mortal Strike or the Slow or something like that. Now this Spectral Griffin is the same thing as the Spectral Raptor is in Ogremar, but to Stormwind. So up at the Flight Master in Stormwind, there's a feather that will occasionally or rarely spawn. You click the feather, this thing will spawn, and then you can tame it. This is more difficult to get on Horde side because obviously you're going to be in the middle of Stormwind, so people could kill you. If you're in a PvE server, it would be easier, but I think you still end up getting contested. This raptor is nothing. This is just one of the BFA raptors. This is not like a rare model at all. This Chimera is unique. Where is this from? This is from Winter Spring. There might be one other place that it spawns, but this one is from Winter Spring, and it's actually also a pretty good looking. Oh, that was the wrong one. It's a pretty good looking model as well. It's pretty vibrant. Oh, you know what? Sorry, this one. You know what? It is in Winter Spring, and there's also in Netherstorm. That's right. It has 2 different spawns, Winter Spring or Netherstorm. But it's pretty vibrant, kind of cool. And it's cool too because you can see this is a Chimera that is flying. It's constantly hovering, and the animation is that it's flying, whether I'm standing still or moving. And then you can see, like on the other one, this one is walks. It does not fly. It walks. So it's just standing. And if I move, it like hops around with me. But anyway. All right, on to the next one. Yeah, this is the same one I had earlier. I had the same thing. I had 2 of these so that if I ran that 1 BM trait, I could have 2 of them flying next to me. This is the same as that purple one in the sense that it hovers and flies like while you're standing still. Chimeron. This is the boss out of, what is this, Blackwing Descent, I believe. And this one actually was kind of difficult to tame. There's some like weird mechanics to it, and I can't remember now off the top of my head, but this one did take me a while. Something worth noting is the Hydras obviously do not require you to be BM. The Hydras, you can beat any spec, and the Hydras actually do have the slowest attack speed of any of the pets, at least that I have found so far. Not that it matters, the overall DPS is the same. However, the attack speed of theirs is the slowest, so their individual hits are actually the hardest. Not that that's super important, but there's certain times in PvE situations that might be worth taking or worth noting. But yeah, so worth noting, Hydras hit really, really hard on individual actual autos. Okay, now we're getting to the last page here. For those of you that stayed this long, props to you. I appreciate you guys. Acronis. This was probably, of all of the pets that I have, next song, I don't want to listen to that. Then all of the pets that I have, this is probably took the most time for me to actually get. This is obviously a very unique model. You don't see this a lot. And it's in like a cave, and I can't even remember where it is, but it's in a cave, and it's a really low spawn, and there's always other people farming it. But you can see it's a really awesome model, super vibrant, super unique. It's like this translucent red. You can kind of see through it. Really cool. Unfortunately, it has crap traits. It's got like that dodge one. So for PvE, maybe it's okay, but cunning with the dodge, we don't use in anything regarding raiding or dungeon as far as our optimal pets. And it's not good in PvP because you don't have the Mortal Strike or the slow alongside the cunning. So for that reason, I don't ever use it. I was really disappointed when you couldn't customize what types of like tenacity pets and abilities and things like that. I thought we were going to have the ability to do that, because I was really looking forward to being able to use this pet, because even still back in Legion, it was the same thing. This just was not an optimal pet. So if you're using it, you're doing it strictly for the aesthetics. Another Silithid, nothing too crazy here. This is a unique wasp. Again, I don't use this because it's not really valuable as far as any of the traits or anything, but I do have it. Stonefang, this is I don't know if it's still a unique character model. It was at the time when I tamed it, but this is over in, it's this area, Stormheim. It's in Stormheim there. There's a quest to actually kill him. Crowlusk, these are just the new models. This is the unique model of the rare one that's in Vol'dun. This is the same one that I had before. Now this is interesting and worth noting here. This is another Silithid. So if you go into Silithis, there's the two phases between like the old world and the new world. In the new world, there's a unique Silithid model that is new, obviously. And that model, you have to go and like phase shift out and back in, and then it will like pop up as kind of like a rare-ish spawn. It's not an elite. There are some elites that do have unique colors that currently are not tameable. Maybe they'll change this in one of the future patches, but you can see it's actually a pretty creepy looking pet. You can see it actually gets good size if you have like Bestial Wrath and stuff. It's a pretty big pet. Same thing, another Silithid. Warp Stalker, these are decent because they do have the slow as their ability, but again, I don't use them just because there's more optimal pets. And then we have this dog, which is just a fiery dog that matches the transmog I usually run. Oh my goodness, guys. Okay, that was a lot of talking, a lot of explaining, but anyways, those are some of the rare pets that I have over the years tracked down. Let me know what kind of pets you guys use. I want to know like what the rarest, most unique pet that you guys use or you guys have seen. I'm always interested in trying to track down some rare spawns and trying to have some unique pet models for my pets for sure. So really curious to see what you guys are running and what you guys are playing with. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in on this one. All my Twitch info is down here in the left and in the description below. I also have a Discord, as well as my armory, all that kind of fun stuff if you guys want to look any of that up. But thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys later. Thanks.